Hi, and this short talk on foundational concepts is on habitual patterns. The reason I wanted to do this particular talk on habitual patterns is because it comes up all the time in practice and mindfulness practice and self-compassion and compassion practices and in psychotherapy. It's the habitual patterns that really give us the most problem in life. we we have certain ways of looking at the world or regarding ourselves or certain responses to life. We can two people can be watching the same event and one's irritated and the other is compassionate, or one's fearful and the other one is wanting to take some sort of action. So our responses to the world uh, govern how we see the world. And we think the world is the problem, but it's not. It's how we're perceiving the world. And if you know anybody who seems to be sort of irritable most of the time, well, they keep having conflicts with people around them, and fellow employees, co-workers, or bosses, or cashiers, wait staff. And so it's a self-perpetuating phenomenon. So that relatively neutral events get interpreted as being negative or antagonistic somehow, and that creates irritation and somebody's crossing my boundaries or what have you. One of the most important things to realize about habitual patterns is that when we're reacting from a habitual pattern, we are not thinking. This is not rational whatsoever. It completely bypasses the neocortex, that folded part of our brain. And it's like an algorithm. Once you trip it, it just goes into action all by itself. And so when we understand this, we can be better able to identify these things when they come up. And the habitual patterns are oftentimes the family view of us. Sometimes, somebody's, let's say, the black sheep of the family, the way the family views them, they're going to keep that notion that is going to be part of their self-identity. So they react to the world in that way, as if they're simply not good enough, which is 99% of the time simply not true. So these habitual patterns, if we take a careful look at them, we'll find there's a lot of them in operation in our lives throughout the day, every day. The more aware we can become of them, the greater sense of well-being we have. Both the mindfulness practices and the self-compassion practices tend to bring out those habitual patterns and help us be aware of them, and are part of the means by which we can resolve them. Now, if they're too difficult, if there was a result of trauma, then or some deep-seated family concepts, then we need some form of therapy to help us work through that stuff. But that notwithstanding, we often can become aware of these on our own, with just a sense of increased awareness. So if you're not sure about that, next time you're at a family gathering, whether it's for the holidays or a vacation or whatever, sit back and watch how people behave and see if they're behaving in unique ways or they're behaving in ways that they have always behaved. Or you may have one family member who usually picks a fight with waitstaff, or another family member who really wants to control everything and tell everybody what to do. So in watching these, you can identify them as habitual patterns. But if we're going to be free of them, we have to be aware of them. So part of the process that is part of the process of making progress in mindfulness and the meditation and in the self-compassion and compassion practices, we become more aware of these patterns. And as I said a moment ago, these practices are the means with which to address and resolve them. So happy hunting for your habitual patterns, and thank you for listening.